Greetings, my fellow financial ninjas. Today, I am going to talk about my favorite topic, which is real estate. Off late, there has been a lot of chatter about a bubble that has been formed in most asset classes, such as stocks and real estate and Bitcoin and gold and everything else, and that there is a looming burst coming this year in 2021. Today, I'm going to talk specifically with respect to the real estate market. Um, Back in 2020, when the whole pandemic started, March and April were kind of scary months when everybody was huddled up and locked in their homes, and the shutdowns were in full swing. And I was seriously concerned about what's going to happen. But then the economy slightly opened up. They made realtors deemed a essential profession, and so I was able to start working, and slowly the market started picking up. But by the time August, September came in, the market was back in full swing. And there were a few reasons for that. Normally, what happens is during the month of February, March, April, which are the peak buying season for real estate, everybody was scared, and they pretty much stayed at home, and nobody was buying or selling any properties. And then when the economy opened up, there was this pent up demand that started buying houses. At the same time, the Fed reduced the rates significantly, and also there was a lot of pumping of money into the whole economy. So that caused a lot of people to get out and start buying properties. And as more and more people started buying properties, the prices started going up, and slowly it picked up steam. And by the time October came, we were in a full-fledged buying frenzy. Multiple offers were back, overbidding, every house getting 10, 15 offers. All of those things were back. Now, one thing that I would like to point out, which is unique about the Bay Area, is that having multiple offers and counter offers and bidding wars are very common in the Bay Area. And so, compared to the rest of the country, that has always been the case. Since I've been here for the last 20 years, that's all I've seen, except for that short period of time between 2009 to, I would say, 2011. But most of the time, that's how the market is, and is what's considered a normal market in the San Francisco Bay Area. However, in March April timeframe, that kind of improved a bit for the buyers, where there was not as many biddings, maybe 2 or 3 offers, and that's about it. But by the end of the year, the prices had gone up so high, and we had already reached the all-time high. And since then, it has been going up. And in some cases, it's just kind of insane. I mean, I have been facing situations where there would be 30, 35 offers on a house, and people would be bidding 100, 150, 200,000 over asking. I mean, for 200,000, there are parts of country where you can buy an entire house, and that's the amount that people are bidding over by. And so this kind of makes people wonder, like, what's going on? Is this some kind of similar to what happened back in 2006, 2007? And is there a crash looming in the future, maybe this year or next year or what have you? So one thing that I like to point out regarding the difference between 2006 and now is the interest rates. The interest rates at the time, I remember, were about 6%. Right now, it is at record low. I mean, it's the lowest it's been in the history. The other factor was, back in 2006, the people that were actually purchasing the homes. There was a lot of this subprime borrowing. If you're too young to remember what it was, is that people with not so good credit were put under this bucket called as subprime borrowing, and they could borrow money. And one of the preconditions to qualify one of those subprime loan was that you had to have bad credit history. And they used to pay a lot more in interest, and it was the whole reason why we had that bubble to begin with. The other thing was that nobody was putting any significant down payment to purchase a house. So if you could pretty much put zero down. I mean, I remember Ninja loans, which were no income verification, no job verification loans, and it was just crazy that anybody with a pulse could just walk in and get a loan. Fast forward now, that is not the case. Most people that I see have been putting 20% down, if not at least 10% down. So there is some skin in the game. And the other thing also is that if you are putting 10% down or 5% down, it's pretty much impossible to buy a house in Bay Area. I mean, it's just there's so much competition and so many people with good credit history and putting a substantial down payment that somebody with a 10% down, it's really hard to compete. Also in the media, there's a lot of talk about the forbearance. There's something like 3 or 4 million people that have availed the forbearance, which is nothing but the ability to not pay the mortgage. And the process has been made super simple by the government. All you have to do is just give it in writing that you're facing hardship and you could get a forbearance. It's as simple as that. So a lot of people have been availing that. So one of the things that I wonder is how many of these people are actually genuinely people that have been affected by the pandemic, who have lost their job, compared to some people that are just availing the facility just because it is there. So that is one of the things, and the government keeps on increasing the limit for the forbearance. I think right now you can apply for it till the end of the month, and there's a chance that they might further extend it. The other is the discontinuation of foreclosing the properties. So the foreclosures have been pretty much come to a standstill because of the pandemic. The government has put a lid on it. At some point, it will start. But for the foreclosure crisis to reach anywhere near what happened in 2010, you would have to have massive price drops. So it's like a cycle. What happens is there's a price drop. People are not able to pay their mortgage. The homes foreclosed. They come on the market. There's an increase in the inventory. Once there's an increase in the inventory, there's more price cuts. This puts in more people into foreclosure, and so on and so forth. Then it becomes a vicious process. Right now, though, the inventory is the lowest it's ever been, not just in Bay Area, the whole country. It's something like 2 months worth of inventory on the market, and there is way too many qualified buyers that are waiting to buy these properties. So even if there were some foreclosures that may happen once the moratorium expires, there is a substantial pool of buyers that is actually ready to absorb this new inventory that comes on the market. And also, there is the factor of cost of construction. The cost of construction has actually skyrocketed thanks to the price of all the commodities. I mean, just the lumber itself has gone up by more than 80%. So overall, there is inflation on goods. Prices of a lot of things have gone up. So unless somehow the cost of construction goes down and the government gives permission to build houses everywhere, there is unlikely a scenario where the inventory will go up significantly. And as long as the inventory does not go up, there would not be any forced sales, there won't be any price cuts, and there will still be competition for the homes. The other important aspect is the rates, and the government has been pretty clear that the rates are going to stay low for a while. And they are not planning on raising the rates at least till 2024. Obviously, they're going to monitor the situation, but given what we've heard from Powell and the Treasury Secretary, it doesn't seem like the rates are going to go up anytime soon. So, all in all, I don't see a catalyst or any catastrophic event that would cause the market to collapse. Now, there could be some unknowns that could happen. There could be another big pandemic, or there could be a massive earthquake that brings down the whole Bay Area, or some kind of other natural disaster, or a war, or some of those things. Unless something like that happens, it is highly unlikely that we will see any kind of correction in the market this year or next year. So pretty much this year we're going to see a growth, and the growth predicted by the National Association of Realtors is 8% increase in the prices. I've actually seen that increase in the prices in the past 6 months itself. So probably it's going to be a lot more, maybe 10, 12%. Some of the counties, like the county I live in, which is Contra Costa, it has seen almost 14% rise last year. Now, what should you do as a home buyer? Obviously, being a real estate agent, my opinion is biased, so keep that in mind. Don't construe this as a financial advice. It's just the opinion of some guy on the internet. Having said that, if I were a buyer in this market, if it was a primary home for me, I would not worry about the prices so much, as long as I have stable job, stable income, I have enough down payment, I have sufficient funds to cover my expenses for the next 6 to 8 months. I'll just buy the house. As long as my timeline is 7 to 10 years, it's probably you'll come out fine. And we can look back in history, when let's say you were buying a house possibly at the worst time in the history, which was December of 2006. You bought a house in the Bay Area, which was at its past peak. But if you stayed there for about 7, 8 years, which is up to 2013-14, you're not only recovered the whole thing after the crash, but had made up pretty handsomely. And so as long as your timeline is long enough, about 7 to 10 years, I don't think the prices, even if there is a crash in the future, they're going to drop. If I was buying a property for investment, though, I would be a lot more careful and do my homework, do a lot more analysis, and make sure that I'm buying the property at the right price, and look at the rents and what my total outlay is going to be and how much I'm going to make on that house. Which I did actually last month when I closed on the property in Roseville, the video for which I did last week. So there might be situations where the investment might work, but you have to do a lot more research. You have to be a lot more patient to get the right deal, and you cannot get emotional. But as far as a regular buyer is concerned, who is looking to stay in the property for the next decade or so, it probably would not make a difference. And if I have to give a reference point, let's say if you had bought a property in the December of 2006 or early 2007, which was probably the worst time to purchase a property in the history of US. If you had held on to your house for another 8-10 years, it would not have made a difference. The house would have dipped 20%, 25%, depending on the area. It came back up, and by the time we were in 2013, the prices had come back up, and if you were ready to sell your house in 2015, you would have made a decent chunk. Having that kind of a long-term outlook would probably be very fruitful when it comes to buying a property right now. So overall, nobody knows when the market is going to crash or if it is going to crash. In my opinion, there is no crash coming. Maybe in 2023 we might have some kind of a leveling off, and it may go horizontally for a few years and then kind of going back up, which is the normal trend. But a 2009 2010 style crash, I think that was a once in a lifetime event, and it is unlikely that we will see a repeat of that. So that's it for now. If you have to make a comment, do so in the comment section. Do like this video, thumbs up, share with your friends, and subscribe to my channel. Goodbye.